Hey friends, join us as we go along on a moto camping weekend trip in St. George Island, Florida. Happy Halloween! Alright, here we are. We are currently up in the Big Bend area, most likely on routes 319 or 98. And yes, there is the Gulf of America, folks. We could not have asked for more beautiful weather, and you'll probably hear me say that a million times over, but it was absolutely the best weather weekend we could have asked for. It was probably around 52 degrees when we left our home in Palm Coast, but up here in the Big Bend, it was around 67 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. Absolutely gorgeous. And today is Halloween, so happy Halloween. And no, we did not go trick-or-treating, but we did have more treats than tricks, which was great. So just follow us along as we have a great weekend here camping, and we'll go through and see what St. George Island is all about. First, we had to stop for some gas, only one time. The approximate trip was about 295 miles one way. We did about over 625 miles for the entire weekend, so not too bad of a weekend. And so here we're just making the turn onto, I believe this is the Big Bend Scenic Byway on the coastal trail. So we're just turning onto where we'll get onto the causeway to make it over to St. George Island. As we approach the causeway here, this is a few miles long to make it to the barrier island of St. George. And again, just the waters were impeccably clear, clean, and calm. And look at that sky. I mean, holy mackerel. There was not a cloud in the sky, and it was just made for such an amazing weekend, and I just want to relive it and go back there as soon as possible. Such a beautiful time. And for Halloween weekend, we were quite surprised that there really wasn't much traffic at all going over to St. George Island. Now, this is on Friday, October 31st. I had just celebrated my birthday the day before, so my husband Tim said, let's go on a birthday weekend camping trip, and he made this reservation for us. And I could not have been more excited because it's been a long time since we've done anything like this and camped outside of an actual camper. So here we are on the approach. We actually are on the island now of St. George Island. Again, it is a barrier island. It's about 9 miles of undeveloped white sand beaches, a few restaurants, shops, and a Piggly Wiggly grocery store. You'll see that coming up here later on, but just a super nice, clean, quiet coastal town. They do have a lighthouse, which we did not visit because we wanted to get back to the campground and set up camp before it got dark. At this time, it was probably close to 4 p.m. And with the time change the following night, it was getting dark earlier, so we just wanted to get settled in. But look at that lighthouse, just beautiful. Now, as you'll see here, all of the homes on St. George Island are on stilts on both sides. For obvious reasons, it does border the Gulf of America, and I'm not sure, I can only say in the Panhandle, Pensacola area, Apalachicola of Florida, I'm sure they get their share of hurricanes and have had damage in the past, so any home structures, it's a requirement to be built upon stilts. Now, this campground is actually called the Dr. Julian J. Bruce State Park in St. George Island. Here we are getting ready to check in and get our assigned campsite. Everyone we encountered here is super friendly and very helpful. So we checked in, and now we're heading to our campsite. The actual campground is approximately 3-4 miles from that check-in point, and nothing but these sand dunes. and it's just like a crazy scene. Now this here where you see now, we are actually driving or riding into the actual campground. The campground itself has about 60 camping sites. They're all very level, gravel, like a hard packed ground. The campsites are $24 a night plus tax, and that would include your electric and water. And then in the entrance here, you'll see coming up on the left, they do have a dump station for your RV and also dumpsters for your trash. Throughout the campground itself, there are also 2 bathhouses, and thankfully our campsite was relatively close to one. We're camping in a tent, so facilities we had to walk to use, but it wasn't bad at all. Now this St. George Island State Park is also known for their stargazing, and let me tell you what, this was the perfect weekend for just that. With not one cloud in the sky, the stars came out like I have never seen in my life, and I wish I had a time-lapse camera that we could have used or set up just to show, but take my word for it, if you're into stargazing at night, this is a perfect place, and known for stargazing due to very little light pollution. It was just absolutely spectacular, and I highly recommend to anyone in the area, or not even in the area, but make it a trip to the St. George Island State Park and Campground. You will not be disappointed. Here we're getting ready to pull up to our campsite, which was number 28, and conveniently next to it was a pathway that would take you over to the water on the bay side. Here we are setting up camp. We have a tent that we use. It's a North Face tent, and some of the gear that we use to carry our supplies was, I highly recommend the Sandoval bag from Adam Sandoval. That bag is absolutely amazing. We each had one on our bike, mainly for our military sleep system that we packed, our pillows and such. We also had a Zero cooler for our food and drinks. And here's our completed camp setup. And our bikes loaded down. This is the pathway next to our campsite. This is the view it gave, and holy cow, just gorgeous. And no tricks were to be treated, but we did have a nice treat. Cheers. Now this is going over to the beach side. Absolutely gorgeous white sand beaches, not a person in sight. This is Halloween weekend, and it was so gorgeous, and just completely surprised there were hardly anyone at the beach. Not beach weather, it was in the early, very cool low 60s, but still a beautiful day. Now here we found a friend. A gnome was placed in the tree. Welcome, gnome. Welcome, gnome. And of course we had to get our picture taken at the check-in booth that says Gulf of America. Now here we're in Apalachicola the next day. This would be November 1st, Saturday. They had their annual Florida Seafood Festival held in Apalachicola. What a cool, quaint little town. Great restaurants. And if you love oysters or love shucking oysters, they do have a oyster eating and shucking contest. I thought about entering because I could throw down some oysters, but I declined. Here I am at the Piggly Wiggly, getting my picture taken with Mr. Wiggly. Here's our final trip. Just a quick outline of our travels. We took 2 different routes, one going, a different one coming home. Overall, we traveled 625 miles in 48 hours. It was the absolute best trip I could have asked for. Thank you to my husband, Tim Kenny, for putting this together, and we just had the best, amazing time. Anyone that's in the area, I highly recommend St. George Island and State Park for a camping trip, especially moto camping. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching.